Hey, I'm using the Switch's capture function, so the gameplay clips are only going to be 720p and 30 seconds long at most, so editing is going to look a bit choppy, and in terms of spoiler footage, I'm only going to show things from New Donk City or before unless it was shown off in promotional material. So, the question is Super Mario Odyssey the best 3D Mario game ever made? Well, let's find out. I mean, the reviewers are saying things like, yeah, 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, but these are also people that say things like 7.8 out of 10 because Pokemon's got too much water. And I mean, if Mario Wii U taught me anything, it's that a game's merits all rely on how good its water looks. And let me tell you what right here, boy. This here Mario's got some fine water, if I do say so myself. Also, everyone knows YouTubers are the #1 place to go for video game reviews because I'm not getting paid to talk about it. In fact, it cost me $7.25 maybe to make this. Nintendo set the standard for 2D platformers with Donkey Kong back in 1981, changing the toy company into the video game giant we all know today. So when the 64 was planned, Nintendo needed something to show off the system's amazing 3D graphics. Nintendo knew that they would have limitations, and this time around making a bunch of levels like Super Mario World wasn't gonna be an option. So instead, they created something that set the standard for the collectathon genre. This time around, Nintendo created a world for the player to run around in at their leisure and to collect doodads in. Each of the worlds were visually distinct and memorable. Now, let's talk about the most important thing in the game first, the controls. Now, some people would say that graphics are the most important thing. And to those people, I say you're idiots. Because it doesn't matter how good a game looks if you can't actually play the game. Because when those controls are just right. So, you want to go left, you go left. You want to go right, you go right. And bada boom, bada bing, you're jumping around doing backflips and spin things that are useless, but you can still do them. So that's all that really matters. Now, one of the more interesting design choices you'll notice about the game is that you don't have a hat immediately. This is actually to let you figure out what you can do on your own. And then shortly afterwards, you're given Cappy to see how he can interact with the world. And with Cappy, you can do some pretty neat things. I mean, look just how far I can long jump right here. Okay, there was a mistake. There we go. Thing is, with all these different movement options, there are multiple routes to the same objective. Once you've become acquainted with the buttery smooth controls, the game decides to throw something that Mario can't do. And that's jump that high. So what does the game do? You become a frog. Now the significance of this early on as the game is to show the player that the capture mechanic is useful for exploration. In fact, it's required to explore very early on, thus teaching the player, hey look, you got this thing, don't forget about it. Unlike many other games with multiple controllable forms, all of these controlled in a unique and very well done manner, thus only adding to the player's desire to explore the game. Now the Switch is the sort of play how you want to idea going on behind it, and this makes its way into Super Mario Odyssey. So, the game is probably the most non-linear 3D Mario game, which is nice since the last one of those was Mario Galaxy back in 2007. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is that the game lets you pretty much do whatever you want. While the game does make the player go through each of the kingdoms one at a time, it does allow for a good amount of freedom. That being, when you're first thrown in a kingdom, you're pointed towards a boss fight that you can choose to opt out of and instead just collect power moons. Now, you may be wondering, what if you can't get enough power moons to move on? Well, worry not, for you only need 124 to beat the game. Now, I'm going to give a spoiler right here of the total moon count, so if you don't want to hear that, I'm going to add a little button for you to click and or a time code. So, we're going into spoiler territory in 3, 2, 1. 880. That's right. While we're in spoiler territory, once you beat the game, you get to explore Peach's castle from Super Mario 64 with little Easter eggs pointing to things that you could do in the original game, including Mario's Super Mario 64 design as a costume. You back? Good. You're not going to be running short on moons anytime soon. And if you still need help, the game has got 2 hint systems in place. You have Hint Toad and Uncle Amiibo, who function in a very similar manner by putting a marker on your map at the price of 50 coins or scanning an amiibo and waiting 5 minutes. There's also Talkatoo, who gives you a cryptic hint. In terms of the visuals department, the game looks top-notch with Nintendo's bright, bold colors front and center. Each of the game's kingdoms and its inhabitants are visually distinct and memorable. And also, the kingdoms are just fun to explore. The Cap Kingdom is a moonlit monochrome landscape that's eerie yet inviting. The Lake Kingdom has whites and light blues to create a calm atmosphere amongst its ruins. And the Wooded Kingdom has a very energetic blend of mechanical reds and more natural greens. The game, in short, really fun to play around in. Worlds are fun to explore, constantly rewards you for said exploration. Capture mechanic lets you do that even more. or you can completely ignore it, and with its fun, refreshing gameplay, the game is perfect for both shorter bursts and longer sessions. So, I've given my 2 cents, why don't you give yours in the comment section down below? And if you like this video, you can hit that little thumbs up button and subscribe and hit the notification. Or if you think it's terrible, you can put also in the comment section how I can make these better in the future. See you next time where I talk about Cave Story or the new Legend of Zelda. Not quite sure which one yet, you'll find out eventually. Bye!